When my dad was around 50 he got an African grey. He always loved parrots his whole life, so I was happy for him to get one. After his retirement he named the bird Kevin. My dad taught Kevin a whole vocabulary of words, and he actually trained him to understand the meaning behind certain words like hello, what's up, food, thank you, good, and a few other. My dad passed away at 70, and with that came the time to figure out amongst my siblings and I what would happen to Kevin, my brother and sister. Didn't want the responsibility of taking Kevin into their homes, plus their spouses were against it too, but I couldn't bear the idea of giving him away to a new home. Kevin was and is one of my last connections to my dad, in a sense that was his best friend, so I decided I would take him into my home. I put his cage in the den of my house. My house doesn't have a basement, so the den is considered the lowest level of the house. Kevin is a moderately noisy bird. He could be a chatterbox some hours of the day, usually earlier on, but later in the day and at night he quiets down when he's too noisy. I'll throw a blanket over his cage and that normally quiets him down. I watch TV in the den at night to keep him company. Then around 10, I'll migrate to my room to let him go to sleep. That's pretty much the backstory behind Kevin. I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, so I know exactly how he behaves and when he's is acting out of the ordinary. Speaking of out of the ordinary, there was one night in December around 11 o'clock p.m. that Kevin started making sounds while I was trying to sleep. I sleep with the door open since I live alone and need to be able to hear anything if something's going on in the house. Hearing him making his squawking noises past dark, especially this late at night, was unusual beyond doubt, and something was irritating him. I went down to the den to see what was bothering him. He was wide awake on the lower perch of the two in the cage. He looked at me and was saying things like hello and what's up and his name. All the while he was nodding his head up and down, moving his whole body in the process as if he were dancing. I tried to feed him, but he didn't eat, so I covered him with a blanket hoping he would stop. I was in the kitchen when I stopped inside because he was still making the noises, and I had a feeling he wasn't going to stop. Having work the next day, I couldn't afford to lose sleep because of him. I really didn't know what to do. I'm still, to this day, not exactly a bird expert. I went back downstairs and uncovered him. He was still doing his little dance, popping his head and body and making his distress sounds. It didn't click with me until thinking I heard something in the pantry closet a few feet away from his cage. I walked over to it and hovered my hand over the light switch to the pantry, which was outside of the door. The door has one of those big glass panels that many pantry doors have, so when I flicked the light switch I saw the outline of a body on the inside. My flight response kicked in, and I chose fight. I opened the door, screaming, trying to get my adrenaline rushing, and I grabbed the man in the pantry closet out and threw him to the floor. He tried to fight back, but I easily overpowered him and had him what I could best describe as a chokehold. He was a 50-something-year-old homeless-looking man. With the smell to match it, I yelled at him, "Who are you? Why are you in my house he tried grabbing my face to possibly gouge my eyes or something, but I continued to ring his knee and punch him. During all this Kevin was going berserk in his cage when the man on the floor seemed weak enough. I literally sprinted for the nearest phone and came right back and kept him on the ground while I called 911. The man was taken to jail, but he had no idea on him, nothing. He was homeless and had nothing to his name, and as such he was considered what some people call judgment-proof, meaning even if I tried to sue him I wouldn't get anything from him. He had raided my pantry closet that night and had opened jars of peanut butter, boxes of cookies and crackers, and all sorts of other boxed and canned foods. If it weren't for my dad's parrot, I don't know what else that man would have taken or done in my house. I'm grateful for Kevin, and I like to think part of my dad is watching over. To think part of my dad is watching over me in that.